Hi, this is Jeff Curto, and welcome to episode number 20 of Camera Position, a podcast about the creative side of photography. Well, I appreciate those of you who have been leaving comments on the cameraposition.com blog. Keep that up. Thanks for your help in that regard, and also thank you to those of you who have gone to the iTunes store and left a comment about Camera Position. Actually, that helps get people to listen to Camera Position, and I hope you're enjoying what you're hearing. And based on some of the comments and some of those of you who have been with me for a while now, I guess you do like what you're hearing, so thank you so much. Today, I'd like to talk about the idea of looking through. Now, those of you who've been following Camera Position for these last few months, the last 19 episodes that I've done, have noticed that I have a photographic sort of, I don't know whether it's a penchant or a sort of habit of enjoying the view through from one place to another. And in fact, the very first Camera Position that I did way back when was about this particular image made in the beautiful city of Positano, a town on the Costa Amalfitana, the Amalfi Coast, near Naples. And it's been a popular photograph for me in terms of people enjoying it. And I think part of it is that romantic view out of the window and that sense that you are a part of that space. So it is something that I have done photographically for quite a long time, and I try not to be too formulaic about it, but I rarely pass up an opportunity to look through from one space to another, and I think that there are some fairly interesting photographic reasons for that, and I thought that in today's podcast we'd take a look at a couple of those ideas. And look at a couple of other photographs where I've looked through, but in a different way than some of the other images where I tend to look through to a distant vista. For example, here is an image made in the cellar of an abbey, the Abbazia di Fiastra, which is in the province of the Marches, in Italian Le Marche, on the Adriatic coast, on the eastern coast of the Italian peninsula. And the under area, the basement or cellar area of the abbey, had been used for a variety of purposes over the years. And one of them was, of course, to store things. And here is an olive oil jar, sort of positioned in a particularly beautiful place and illuminated by some overhead lighting. And the idea here, I think, has a lot to do with the way we feel as though we can approach this subject, that we can walk down those ragged stones and come to that space, a space that's made more important because of the illumination and the idea that we are in a place. And I think that looking through often gives us that sense that we are in a space, in a place, within an environment, and trying to use foreground elements to frame the subject. The photograph is ostensibly about this olive jar, but in fact it's really about a lot of things. It's about this the archways and these raggedy rocks on the floor or stepping stones on the floor that lead us visually and if we were in that space physically to that space farther away. So as there is that sense that we are in an environment, in a space. Stretching this idea out a little bit farther is this image made in the Tuscan hill town of San Gimignano. Now, I was drawn to the idea of this photograph by a number of things. One was the light streaming through this doorway in a gate in the walled part of the old medieval part of the city. And another part was this beautiful little niche sculpture of the Virgin Mary up above the doorway, and the way in which it was a door within a door. So here we're not looking to the very distant view, but rather this sort of mid-level view. So I'm trying to get the viewer to not only concentrate on what it is that I'm seeing in the scene, and obviously trying to draw the viewer's attention to that beautiful little niche sculpture and the way the light is falling on the stairs as it falls through the shaft of this space in between the inner wall and the outer wall, and carefully positioning the camera so that we see those doors not exactly centered upon one another, but really kind of looking at them as two separate apertures. The idea, though, is to frame the image in a way that helps invite the viewer again into the space and give that sense of space, that sense of depth to the picture that I think is fairly successful here. And then a third idea is stretching this idea out a little bit farther still, goes to the idea of the more distant view. This image made in also in Tuscany, this one at the Abbey of Monte Oliveto, which is near the town of Bonconvento, sort of in southern central Tuscany. And the idea here was to use these beautiful trees to frame this wonderful poplar that's in the distance. And there is, though, the sense of intimacy in this image, and the intimacy that I frequently feel in the Tuscan landscape. This is not a picture about the extraordinarily distant view. The poplar tree in the background is what I would think of as sort of mid range in terms of sort of mid ground as opposed to the strong or long background. And the idea of the background of the image, the distant horizon line, is really kind of minimized by this idea of filling the frame with so much of these pine trees, and using another device that I enjoy using, especially with the large format camera, and that is this blurred motion and the way in which that wind blows the trees and gives this beautiful sense of texture to the foreground of the image. So what I'm really trying to get at here is the idea that if we take a look at the way human vision works and the way we use our peripheral vision and concentrate on the things out in the distance that are interesting to us, using framing devices to give us a sense of scale, a sense of position in a scene. Really, that's what I try to do when I use this idea of looking through one space into another, and give the viewer some sense of where they are in space, and hope to give them some sort of entry point into the image in a sort of physical as well as an emotional way. And I hope it works some of the time at least, and I hope also not to rely on it too much as a crutch. And we'll talk about that in future editions of Camera Position as well. So that's the idea for today, is the idea of looking through, and that looking through doesn't necessarily have to deal with the distant view. It sometimes can deal with the more intimate and close view as well. So today is the 31st of May, 2006, and tomorrow, the 1st of June, I leave for Italy, and I'll be there for 3 weeks, and I'm not sure what I'll do about Camera Position in the meantime. I have my PowerBook, and will be bringing that with me, as well as some recording equipment. Of course, the big problem will be finding upload space or upload facility to be able to upload Camera Position episodes, but if I can, I'm going to try to give you some field experience with Camera Position, and perhaps do some camera positions from the road. If you don't hear from me for several weeks, it just means that I'm busy making photographs and drinking some Italian wine and eating some Italian food, and enjoying the Italian countryside. I'll be in Sicily for a few days. I am very excited about visiting a town in the province of Basilicata. That's the archway of the boot, a town called Matera, where up until the 1960s, people lived in caves that were dug into the side of cliffs. And there are ruins there that certainly look like interesting photographic material. And then I'll be in Tuscany for a week or so, and then in Rome for a few days, and I'll be back toward the end of June. So with any luck, I'll be filing some Camera Position reports from the road, so keep your podcast clients pointed to Camera Position, and I'm hoping to be able to give you some experiences of what it is that I do out there on the road, when I'm making photographs. I'm loaded for bear. The camera bag is packed. I suppose I ought to pack some clothes now. I've got all the film and all the cameras and all the lenses and all the other stuff packed, but I haven't quite gotten around to getting the clothes in the bag. Kind of an afterthought, really, in a lot of ways. So thanks for listening. I appreciate you being here, and I hope that you continue to listen to Camera Position, the podcast about the creative side of photography.